In this experience, I would start in the city of Modesto, my hometown, and within an amusement park. This amusement park was abandoned, yet at certain times of the day came alive with ghostly-like beings parading through the streets, using the rides, etc. I would be a guide of a kind with a group of 5 or so, including some of the family members. They followed me as I led them through this decrepit park, and the objective was clear: get out of the park without allowing one of these ghastly beings to come in contact with you. By contact, they could drag you into their unconscious realm, which is all through agreements made within an individual's consciousness. Now leading this group over a narrow plank which was suspended above dark, murky waters, I cautioned everyone and we pressed on, none falling short or succumbing to lack of intent or focus thereof, to secure a better position from which they are less restricted, as the park represents, especially in its less inviting nature, with its primary idea being fear. Fear of falling short or being trapped, and fear of the unaware within. So was guidance necessary for all those involved. Coming out of the park now, we would be on the street in front of one of the high schools called Modesto High. And in this scene, it had been set ablaze that the unaware forces were trying to elicit a reaction from the masses and enforce more control over them by driving the city into chaos through staged and planned dramatic events. And depending on how an individual positions themselves, an event such as this could easily consume them, sending them into hysterics or taking to the streets to riot and pillage or even murder. It seemed all bets were off with this event, as the main idea was to prompt those unaware forces to enact something such as martial law. Ramon then came into my view on the left-hand side. He seemed to be already in a kneeling position, holding a wooden-stocked rifle, a wooden-stocked bolt-action rifle, which seemed clear to me as a means to defend himself from the already forming mobs. And as his impressions suggested, and through his body language, could I see that the unaware do intend to, in some way, if not in full force, bring this into the physical. And so it was a matter of being prepared, first on the real side, then into the physical. Yet even with such an experience, there are no guarantees, as everything, including our own experiences and their effects, have been decided by us through lifetimes and multidimensionally now. So I individually had to decide not to agree to this taking place. And of course, the consciousness of the many holds sway, but as I had seen with the group I was guiding, they were not as the masses were, and began going out to warn others and tell them what was really going on. So still a part must be played in all of this, as we decided. And that was my little experience to share. Thank you. Yes, that was part 1. It seems like they're wanting to really kind of bring the hammer down on this city. So it's very, very interesting.
Yes, and Val and I were listening to Dane Wigington, geoengineering, watch.org, again the other night. We hadn't listened for a long time. And Dane has a lot of interesting information, and the elites are wanting to, play with the weather again, make the weather a lot worse, etc. This is the idea, whether they do it or not. Well, anyhow, and so all of this is ongoing. We're just being shown what's being planned, because again, anything that's taking place is already being planned. Just like building a house or whatever, you have plans. And then you go and build the house, build the building, whatever. And so these things that are occurring, many times they look like, incidences, or that he did this or whatever. Well, it's a plan, and they hire people to instigate things and what have you, because this is just how it is in this, surface world bubble. Everything is basically set up like the weather, etc. It's all controlled. And this is where people are literalized to think a certain way. We've been brought up a certain way, all distracted. Our attention's everywhere. We don't know what real focus is, etc. And so these events go on. And so again, the real guidance is really all about focus and learning to recognize. Now, this is the big step, and most people resist this, which is understandable. It takes a long time. I get it. We all go through this because we've been taught to be, distracted by almost everything that seems to be of interest, and to focus and to be real like the sun shining. Well, that's something else that seems so boring. Well, actually, this is all boring because it's really just a junkyard. And so again, we haven't improved our situation. It's just that we've agreed to distraction, etc., because all life is awareness. And so this is the difference between us and everything else going on. The cute ideas of saviors and gods and masters and gurus and spiritual, these are little bubble ideas floating around people's heads, have nothing to do with what's real and recognition. So again, you're going through this process to see what's taking place, to see what people do, as an example of what not to do. That's the bigger example right there. And so again, we look for people that want to at least first step agree with the all natural environment supporting everything, because without that, you're just going to have a world of rubble. And that's it, which they're already showing in the movies, everything destroyed, you've got nothing, okay? So you can eat brick and concrete or whatever, but they're already showing that in the movies because that's the end result, that's their plan. And so in the meantime, we're going through these things. So the idea here is to focus, get real, wake up, or you will stay the effect of this. It's that simple. So yes, thank you for that. Yes, part one, Jeremy, thank you.